Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Grab your hand if you can hear me. Thank you, thank you. And today we are Tale Cross Banok. And who are we? We will tell you later. But please come and join us. Sit here. You are more than welcome to come and have some sherries from Castle. Sit here and discuss with what we are going to do today. From what you probably hear before is about politics. Politics in Southeast Asia, politics in Thailand, what had happened recently. You probably have heard something. And today we are going to talk about it through the arts. How come arts can help us understand Thai politics? You will hear more. We have a number of speakers here at Castle in Documenta and also some people from online joining us later. And not that, we're going to have another special guest direct from Thailand. He's a politician going to join us on the public discussion. The event today mainly is in English and probably a bit of Thai if we cannot speak it pretty well, but we try to translate into English for you guys. All right? Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? One more time. Thank you. Okay, now we have seen something exciting introduction from what we can talk today. But first of all, actually, this event live online on Facebook and YouTube. So if you guys curious or want to hear more or want to see us afterwards, you can check out thale.eu. You can see us there. But first of all, for those who are online, which camera here? Okay, so we are here at Documenta Hall. We are in Kassel, Germany. And just so you know, in case you haven't heard about Documenta, what it's about, Documenta is the world's largest, most important international exhibition of contemporary art. I'm so thrilled to be here, to be honest. And then I was told recently that Documenta is founded in 1955 as the World Art Show. Documenta is regarded as the sign of the political purification of the Germans after the Second World War and a symbol of a new cultural beginning. Besides the exhibitions, there are numerous lectures, film screening, tours, conference, project and seminars, and special programs for children. And the exhibition is spread out over multiple locations across Kassel. And today we are broadcasting live from Documenta 15, which is the 15th editions of Documenta. And this year, the Indonesian art collective Rang Rupa served as the artistic director for Documenta. And what's going to happen in the next 2 hours is the collaborative project between Banok and Tale. Banok is a non-profit organization initiated by artists from Nong Po, Thailand. And Tale is non-profit organization initiated by Thai professionals in Europe, registered here in Kassel, Germany. So what does these two groups have in common? Well, first of all, they are Thai people. And secondly, they are interested in politics. And most importantly, they serve and function as an alternative learning platform for discussions, analysis, and debating toward the social conditions and community among people from various fields. And the expected outcome is to find out the possibility of living together and achieving better community. So welcome everyone to Churning Politics, examining Thai politics through the arts, using a ritual of democracy. Thank you. All right, so next thing, we have these different things going on in this RAM. I don't know whether you have seen it before. We have covered in many magazines. This RAM is tagged with the numbers of things like here, for example, why is it that is interesting? Dictator. So I think that is very self-explanatory about dictator. And that one is ปล่อยเพื่อนเรา is Thai is like free our friends. There are a lot of youth Thai activists who are now being in jail because of Article 112. And they are now a lot of them be there for the reason that sometimes we believe that it's not right that they are there in the first place. Well, we have another tag here that people came and painted for us or tag for us, which is what happening in Thailand. And here, for example, I am a citizen. Oh, more than that, they have a lot of nice picture like คนเท่ากัน คน in Thai is main human being. เท่ากัน is equality. So treat human equally and treat them nicely. So this is the ramp that you can come and then skate for free if you have the skateboard, and then you can use this as a ramp, and otherwise you have to pay to the ticket to get in here. Here we are with the audience and with the speakers that we're going to have the talk with us in the next hour, and also the artists as well. They are here. Or maybe I can have a chat with the artist here first. สวัสดีค่ะ Hi. Can you please introduce yourself and a bit of the art that we have here?
Hello, everyone. I am a representative of Banor Collaborative Arts and Culture. So we are the collective who invited to join the Documenta 15, and me and Jiradet, we are together this time with our team to host this first forum, Churning Milk Forum, that we co-host with Thale.eu. We are very happy that this event happens today for the first time. So you can see that the project here is the title is Churning Milk, the Rituals of Things. This is the project that we address for the Documenta 15. You can see that it is a social interactive space that combined with the Churning Milk ramp, mini ramp. That is now we collaborate with local community skateboard skate park named Mr. Wilson Skate Harley. And then we also collaborate with the local farms that you can see on the video installation on the monitor. And then also the shadow puppets installation that allows everyone to join and interpret and collaborate to perform in according to the story behind Ramayana epics, the chapter Churning Ocean of the Milk, and then also with the forest house from the Brothers Grimm. So this is a very nice occasion. For this time, we address the Churning Politics title for this time. Thank you so much, everyone who joined.
Thank you very much. Such a nice story of why we are here, and you can see there's a lot of art around this, and I think this is we have such a great opportunity to be here and tell us our story, what's happening in Thailand right now through the arts and talking about politics. Besides that, we also have a group who are Thale. I can tell about Thale what it is. We are Thai people who are professionals and living in Europe. We are here in Germany, some in Denmark, in Sweden who are coming here today, and some join us online as well. And then what we would like to bring it up is that we would like to bring up these social issues happening in Thailand. For example, the smart city, for example, how can it make the city better? How can we understand about the business, merging acquisitions of the telecommunication in Thailand, and different topics that are happening, and some are quite sensitive to talk it in the countries, but we believe in the freedom of expressions. So we speak it up, we provide platform for people to talk about it and discuss about it. We don't agree, or we agree to disagree, let's say that way. So it's kind of social interaction that people can use to exercise their thought and bring it a better community, a better understanding of each other. So that's how we are starting the association. And then we have lucky that we are being here joining us with the Ban Nok the Art Collective that having the event here in Documenta Hall. And we are having this featuring project together today, especially to talk about the politics and then the thing that both of us are interested, and we would like to have result bring back to Thailand, or maybe people to create awareness across the world what's happening. All right, so this is how we are, how Ban Nok is, and that is what the hall is present today. So is any questions or anything would like to ask? You can just raise your hand, or if you like to come and have sherry, just come and have a seat. We have it here. You're more than welcome. Okay, it's a bit hot today, so I'm so sorry for that. I haven't prepared for it, but actually it's kind of giving the feeling of you are being in Thailand. Besides hearing the story of politics, you get the heat of it. It's the heat topic, both the discussion and also the weather that you are sitting here. So you get the real feeling that is like 4D art that we have it today. Yeah.
Thai, English, German.
Yes, and then today we have mostly discussion is in Thai, sorry, in English. But if you like, maybe we have some discussion also in Thai, but we can try to translate it into English as well. And also we have the translator who can translate into German. If you would like to hear what it is, then you just raise your hand, and we will accommodate you from your point of view. All right. Yes. Mhm. Okay. All right. So now to the next sessions, which all right. Now we are coming to the main sessions, which is the keynote speakers. Today we are having 3 main speakers here with us, 2 of them, and then another one online. You will see her later. The 3 keynote speaker here is going to talk about politics through the art, but it's not just politics, it's not just us, it's about history as well. So we have the historian who are doing research about that, and he will introduce himself later. Who is he? And he's talk about this patriarchy, how it is related to Thai politics, how it is result in what is happening today. Then we have a keynote speaker, which is our artist, who are going to talk about the politics in Ramayana. And what is Ramayana? You might not heard of it, and some of you may have heard it. Then just keep an eyes and ears on the topic that P-Boy or PG is going to talk about. And then we will have the sessions online that we will have a guest or keynote speaker called directly from Denmark. She cannot be here with us today, so she will join us online. So that's why we have this screen, so you can come and hear what she talking. And her topic is transformation from ignorance to enlightenment. Why, what happened, and how. She will tell more about us later. And then after we wrap up, and then what is going to happen is that we will have public discussions. But before public discussion, there will be some tagging here happening from our guests online directly from Thailand and come and speak with us. So I just don't want to surprise you that much, but he is a big politician in Thailand, and he just ran for governor recently for Bangkok. So you may have seen him a little bit if you follow Thai politics. Afterward, we have the public discussion where if you have questions, people here have some idea, would like to bring it up and discuss to understand the politics in Thailand, then please feel free to come and join us. We have the time for you for an hour. And of course, we have the Haribo. It's a German candy and famous one that we can bring it out. We have the castle cherries, which is also very nice. And then we have the expert in different way, let's say, to talk about the topic we like to have. And it's kind of a one in lifetime chance that you have it to talk with all these people. So let's start with the first sessions, which is pretty. He is the researcher from Lund University, and he is going to talk about patriarchy. Please, can you use it? Maybe this
one. Thank you, Kunop. I feel like I'm a little bit, I'm very underqualified for this because as a man talking about patriarchy, it doesn't work. So I'll try to make my point. What's the meaning?
What does it mean in patriarchy?
You
The
mean
translation?
อ๋อปีตาธิปไตย Sorry, I operate in many different languages. But I have something to talk to you or say to you today, which I prepared. And let me begin. Distinguished guests and friends here and virtually, I'm delighted and honored to be here with all of you this afternoon. And at this very important event, I take this as my fortune to have had an opportunity to meet and converse with everyone whose labor goes into the support of freedom of expression and for emancipation. I look at your projects with appreciation. Congratulations. Me of the 1960s. And it was and Cambodia, not the Vietnam War, as it should now be clear. Bangkok, by that time, became one of the closest allies to Washington. This era is dubbed as the era when the tripartite military, monarchy, and American imperialism held hegemonic power. In the middle of 1960s, American air power and its infrastructures expanded exponentially. 50,000 military personnel and 600 aircrafts were stationed in Thailand, mostly in the northeast or Isan region. During 65 to 68, the B-52 strike missions took place daily. Around 125 sorties from Takli, Korat, Udon, and Ubon. Fighter bombers from Korat and Takli dropped 90,000 tons of bomb. 3/4 of our bombs dropped in North Vietnam during that time. This is not to mention a general knowledge that all bombs dropped in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia during this short period far exceeded those dropped during the whole period of the Second World War. Most of these bombings took off from Thailand, which became, in the words of the Pentagon, our unsinkable aircraft carrier. If this is not colonization, I do not know what it is called. Freedom of expression was suppressed, and censorship was central to the authoritarian governments holding onto power. Activists accused of being sympathetic to the communist cause were prosecuted. Political murders during this period and the previous decades were, according to Benedict Anderson, regular feature of modern Thai politics. But censorship and suppression could not silence art. On the contrary, oppression stimulated dissident artists, writers, poets, journalists, and musicians to find ways of expression. So during the early 1960s, art exhibitions proliferated and more art galleries were opened. As for institutional art in Thailand itself, the era of the Tuscan-born Corrado Ferrocci or Sin Pirasi, who was the custodian of high art in Thailand, drew to a close. This was the decade that, according to Priya Kairek, in no time, the history of Thai art has the changes in the art so clearly reflected the political climate. Artistic collaboration also expanded into the regional level. Kritiya Kawiwong mentions that there began a regional collaboration among the artists in Southeast Asia during the 1960s. Academics, art historians, curators began formal conversations as a result of the establishment of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, in 1967. They met at exhibitions and seminars according to ASEAN meetings. Now, towards the end of the 1960s and early 1970s, Thai art would never be the same again. The Thai political climate had reached the boiling point. The criticisms of intellectuals and artists towards the war in Vietnam inevitably became criticisms of the Thai military regime's attempt to conceal the truth. The amalgamation of intellectual and social movements against the authoritarian regime brought the 14th October event in 1973, and the military government under Thanom Kittikachorn was toppled. During this brief period of so-called blooming democracy between 1973 to 1976, the tendency art for the people as against art for art's sake was most pronounced in Thai society. There emerged reprints of dissident and leftist writers whose works were banned during the decade of political suppression of the 60s. Importantly was the forming of the Artist Front of Thailand, แนวร่วมศิลปินแห่งประเทศไทย consisting of artists from outside of Bangkok, such as from the Isan region, and outside of Bangkok's high art institutions, like the Port Chang Academy of Arts. The artists อาจารย์นิพนธ์ขันแก้ว อาจารย์โชคชัย ตักโพ and อาจารย์สุขสันต์เหมือนนิรุต or สันติภาพ นาโค were active members. I would like to draw your attention to the 1972 reprint of one of the most important Thai communist intellectuals, จิตร ภูมิศักดิ์ Art for Life ศิลปะเพื่อชีวิต ศิลปะเพื่อประชาชน It is a polemic against the Thai feudal and bourgeois elements in the Thai art. Jit campaigned for art that related to people's struggle. This is a passage from his seminal essay. To do art is to reflect life. Any art productions, if they do not reflect lives, they lose the status of art. They can only be technical production or craft. Because the belief that art goes beyond life, art was thus deprived from men. They say that art belongs not to man, but to the divine. Only the special, chosen one can access art. This belief comes from the thinkers and artists who see art as pure beauty, not the reality of life. They see that pure beauty came from God. Finally, those who could find pure beauty find God. With this belief, ordinary people cannot dare to reach this high art. Indeed, art is high, but not because of its divinity, but because of it has high value to the lives of the people. We can compare this to a beautiful woman. Jit said, she has a sweet face and a symmetrical body. She is born from a high family. She might be cherished and admired by some. But an individual's appearance and birth do not condition a woman's beauty. Her beauty comes from her value to her people, her roles in helping her people, and the progression of mankind. The struggle to move lives forward is high art. High because of its value to the life of the grief-stricken masses. It is high because it belongs to the people, and we always serve the people with honesty. Jit drew from the British socialist William Morris to conclude that art is man's expression of his and her joy in labor. Distinguished guests and friends, I am also here today for a personal reason. I'm here in remembrance of my late friend, P, brother in Thai, and comrade, Thanom Cha Phakdi. If he is still around, we would have met here. P. Thanom has been working all his career for the promotion of art for the people. He was part of the art movements and collaborated with young artists, dissidents, and activists for many years. Through to his latest episode of political movements led by young Thais collectively, which was initiated around 2 years ago. Each time we met, I looked forward to asking him about the political projects and campaigns initiated by young people. He was always knowledgeable and detailed about new art projects because he was there, and he was always enthusiastic about them. It is sad not to be able to meet him here at Documenta, but I think he would disagree with me. I am sure he would disagree with me. He would protest that it is not a sad thing. As the contemporary of the 1970s, P. Thanom would say that the Thai art today makes him glad. I know he would be sure of this because he was there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Preeti. Just to wrap up, Preeti is a historian. He is teaching in the university and also a researcher at university in Sweden for the colonial and the post-colonial studies topics, and he focused on not just with Thailand, also other countries as well. So if you have time, I would like to ask about these issues. Please feel free to ask him later on. And as he mentioned, he is here also to remember his late friend who are passing away, and he also one of the famous artists in Thailand as well. And unfortunately, he has passed, and then we haven't had the chance to meet him today. Okay, so next thing is that we have another speaker who is sitting with us today, and he is the co-founder of Banok, Pichi.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you to having us here. The collaboration work with Thale So in behalf of Bannox, I'm very appreciated that to have this kind of event in our space that we aim to have a multi function that we can and that everyone can come and use our space to different kind of event. So now we are sitting in the ocean. So we are like, this is how we have this different kind of level. So we are now sitting in the ocean, and on the stage there is another level that it will be the earth, and on the top there is will be like an heaven. So this is how the idealistics of the Ramayana epic that have a kind of vertical influence of being a power. So I think I will introduce firstly about the work that how we combine different things that is not related into the platform. So the first we have like we use the text of Ramayana. The Ramayana is an Indian epic. It is all Indian epics from like 4,000 years ago, which is influenced to many countries in Southeast Asia by the religions and also by the political power. We combine the text between the Ramayana with together with the dairy farm that where we form the country of hello. Okay, so to do a kind of like intertextualities between Ramayana and the dairy farm in our village, working with the castle and also the skate lamp that where we are sitting here in the interpretation as an ocean. So I will talk about three topics, which is how to connect the ideas of Ramayana in art or and art in Ramayana. So I will give some briefly about the ideas of how it's connected. So I will talk into three issues. One is about Ramayana itself, and a second is the Aryan as an ethnic group of people, and the last part I will talk about the Somya. So how these three issues getting together, as well as we do on the ways that methodologies of intertextuality and all the texts can be related together. So Ramayana is just very significant implies to many different levels. So hello. So the Ramayana is significant imply into different level. I will talk about the kind of geopolitics in Ramayana, the history in Ramayana, and also culture politics. Hello. And then we will talk about the Aryan. So what is this Aryan and why the Aryan is become become a political issue in every country who has influence of the story of the Ramayana. And then the Somya, which is the very important areas in South Asia. So the Somya is a kind of very big areas between north or southern of China, western side of India, Bangladesh, and north of Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. So anyway, okay, I'll start from Ramayana first. So Ramayana is one of the idealistics that to support the monarchy system, which is that the power of monarchy which influence from the story of Ramayana, because the Ramayana is kind of a representative of the hierarchy system, that how the people are not equal. So the most of the power people is in the top, and and everyone is outside the level is will be a god loose, or the people who are not a good man. For example, like in Ramayana, they talking about a politic, and and Ramayana itself is reflects the ideas that how the white people or the people from the north invading to the south and occupy the areas that where the people the local people was living there earlier before. So this is still become a discussion about where they come from. So in Ramayana, there thought that there mentions about the ethnic people called Aryan. So the Aryan is kind of the one of the power ethnics from the north who come down from the north of the middle of Asia down to the south of India, where the black people, where the color people was there, and this idea is very interesting because in Thailand we have the monarchy system, and this is very interesting that how Thai scholar at the early of Bangkokian and the Bangkok Kingdom, they create the idealistic that where we come from. So in Thailand, the mainstream of educations they taught us that where we came down from the mountain named Antai. So it is very similar that how the Aryan and Thai people who they believe that they are come from the north to the south. And also the Ramayana is kind of a war between classes. And the points that Ramayana epics that try to destroy and the value of the local people. So, but in the same time, so some some scholars that have found an evidence that the Aryan is never have been invented to the south, and also it's very similar to the Thai scholar who has researched about where Thai come from or what is a Thainess. And then we found out that we don't have a Thainess because all Thai people are not really Thai. So we are mixing with many ethnic from the early of the civilizations that where many people who live in the basins of Chao Phraya River, and also by the archaeology they found the evidence in the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro in India that they never found the ideas or they never found the evidence that the Aryan has been invented to the south by the size of their archaeologists has been working for. By the way, the Ramayana is the representative of the fightings between God and demon, between the good people and bad people, between white people and color people. So it's always Ramayana is always imply into an ideas of political and the Halagi people. So okay. So we already know a little bit about Ramayana, and then the next questions in the second issue is, what is Aryan? So Aryan is mean in terms of the anthropologists, the Aryan is mean the one of the ethnics of people who living in near a lake of Caspian in the late back in like 3,500 years ago before Christ. So, and they have kind of evidence to move down through Iran and then to the north of India in the late back to 1,500 years before Christ, and they mixing with the Dravidians, the local people who live in the areas of the India. And the Aryan is getting trouble when it's turned to be the meaning in German. So this is how the ideas of anti-systematics has been arise. So the book called Markham, the fightings of the God, published in 1925, which is the books that German people have inhabited every houses. It was the uncollects of the linguistics that happened in early 19th century. So because of the tone, the sounds of the tones of Aryan is very close to Ehler in German language. And in 1850, the French philosopher he mentions about the ideas of the alliance, the high blood and pure of the high blood of group of people in German, Scandinavia, and north of French, which is make the people not in is not an equal. So, and yeah, of course, even though Adolf Hitler, he has been attend to the class as in the Munich University to listen the lecture of the anti-systematics since there, and kind of is begin to have the ideas of making เรียกว่าอะไรวะค่าล้างเผ่าพันธุ์ mascot, yeah. And now it's a very 3 minute left. I move across to Somia, and why I need to talk about Somia, because the book is called The Art of Not Being Governed, written an anarchist history of upland South Asia by James C. Scott. Because the Somia is evident that we are Thai who are not really moved down from the anti-mountain. So because Somia was the upland which is have about it is about 2.5 million square kilometer, and there has many people like 7 million of people who live there, about 100 million people who live in Somia. And in Somia there has many different ethnic people who have their own arm. So for example, like Wa state. In Wa state, where they do the methamphetamine and they're growing opium and produce the heroin. In Wa state, for example, they have their own arm, and it's all the equipment of they have for the military is very strong. So the money is from the money laundering, how they can make money from the drugs smuggling. So the Somia area is that what's next? The Somia area is about when we focus to the Chan state, we will see like the state of Chan is quite close to China, because there was communist Myanmar before, and the most importance of that group is called Gokang and Wa, and also Lu ethnic. So this group of people, they evacuate their people to the south, and now they have the south state of Wa, who live next to Chiang Rai, Mae Hong Son, Chiang Mai, which is the idea to tell the people of Wa state to move to the new land to occupy, and they open state for growing and opium to be instead of growing in the north, because China was got push and กดดันนี่แหละ pressure, yeah, put pressure a lot from the international country, and then the North Wa state try to be clean themselves, but in the same time they evacuate their people to the south next to the border of Thailand. And this is very important because one of the แม่ฟ้าหลวง is a kind of royal project in the Chiang Rai province. They help Wa state to the opium farm to be the fruit and also and other economic fruit and plant. Yeah, and then the north of Wa states is become the clear land, the clear area. But anyways, we have the space that okay. Anyway, they come to the south next to our home. Yeah.
Okay ค่ะ All right, thank you very much, Kun Jiradate of Piji. He is the co-founder of Banok. Whatever you see here, everything here, over there, up there, is his work, and it's part of it is part of this thing called politics in Ramayana, which is an epic story that is from the South Asian. It's well known in India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Cambodia. And also, it has been there for more than 1,000 years, talking about the human life, about class system, about how being treated as a human, about God, and all those kind of things, and how it's related, how reflected to Thai politics, and how it is influence the way people think in the country. So that's what he trying to express it earlier. And then we are continuing to the next speakers, but before that, Piji, he also mentioned about this art that happening in the northern part. We also actually have another artist, not here in Documenta Hall. She is in the Hubner area. She is the Som Su Parinya. She's a Thai artist as well. And she is from Chiang Mai and Lamphun, the northern part that Piji has mentioned about those small group of people who are doing treating some drugs and also having some collaboration with the Royal Project and how all those kind of stuff. But that's the side story. But the story that Som she is presenting is that she has a project here in Documenta. By what she did is that she invite Cambodian artists, so not only in Thailand, also Cambodian people come and join her with a group called Sasa to install artwork here at the Hubner area. So if you have a chance, come and check out her work. Her project is called Collapsing Clouds from the Stars, and she developed a technique unique from video making that blends documentary and experimental method, commonly involving intensive filming and locations where the historical conflicts and uprising occur in Thailand. You probably haven't heard of it, but it's kind of the issue that is under the sea that we are trying to churning up here, such as the story of the Thai Revolution on the 6th of October, democratic movement and mass massacre in the capital city of Thailand, which is Bangkok. So if you haven't heard about it and would like to know about it, I recommend to check it out at the Hubner area. Before I continue to the next keynote speaker, are you all here? Can you clap your hand if you can hear me? All right, okay. Now we have the guest keynote speaker online joining us from Denmark, and she is a scientist, but she interested in politics. She has been a commentator. She has been having program talking about politics and having these writing at notes and comments to the newspaper expressing about her idea and has been known in a small group of community. She is from Denmark and her name is Shinni Pimrapat. And what is she going to join us and talk about us is called Transformation from Ignorance to Enlightenment. So please welcome Shinni. Okay, we have heard that there's some technical issues here, like usual live program.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Shinni.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah?
we can hear you. Can you make the speaker higher so people in the hall can hear better.
Okay, I've tried to speak up a little bit more. So thank you for having me on the online, and sorry that I cannot join you guys. I have so many trips this summer, so I can't make another trip today. But I will try my best as online. As Nox already said, that I'm going to talk about the transformation from ignorance to enlightenment among the Thai society, basically. In Thai, it would be like เปลี่ยนจากสลิ่มให้เป็นตาสว่างอะค่ะ so that's what I'm going to talk about. So by the way, I'm not historian, I'm not artist, so I'm just a scientist. What I'm going to say is based on my experience of watching closely about the Thai politics. Okay, I'm not going to start from 1932 when Thailand changed from the absolute monarchy to democracy. I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go to some time that at least affect my generation, which is Y generation and X generation, a generation before me. So I will start at the year around 1976. So if you heard Preeti talking about the year 1972 to 1976, that where the Thai students, especially university students and the other people in Thailand, they're very much actively in politics and they ask for democracy, right? So, but there was a tragic event happening in the 6th of October 1976 when we call the massacre in Thammasat University, when the military policemen and also some extremist Thai that stormed into the university in Thailand in Bangkok and killed many activists there. The picture I'm going to show you contains some violence graphics. So I'm going to show just for a minute. You can see what massacre I'm talking about. So you can see these pictures. This is one of the activists that got killed. And those extremist people, they put his body under the tree and, torturing the body. And if you're looking around, you can see the people around that, they're smiling. So you have heard about Thailand is the land of smile. That is the land of smile in 1976. You can see the torturing the dead body and the smiling face out there. For me, that's the start of the ignorance phase of Thailand. So after 1976, what happened in the university, we never learned about 1932 when we changed to democracy. We learned very, very little about that. I never saw that picture that they show you until recent years. So we kind of shut down ourselves from any education talking about politics. So the life of the student in university become very much ignored to politics. From actively before 1976 to become ignored to politics. Talking about politics is like a dirty talk. Nobody talking about that. That's why the generation X and my generation Y, we didn't talk much of the politics. More than that, there have been a process of fabrication, the fabrication of the new narrative, a new narrative that anti-democracy. For example, that narrative make people to lose faith of democracy. There are many writers, there are many books, there are many scholars, and trying to fabricate this narrative that, okay, that whatever you do, for example, if you do election, nobody that come to the government, they're all corrupt. So basically, only politicians are corrupt. That's the narrative they talk about. That's why they start to lose faith of democracy and election. Moreover, they only believe that we only want a good people, a people with barami. In Thai, we call barami. Barami is like a high prestige, a high charisma. We want that people to rule us, and that people it can be from anywhere. It can be from election or it can be from appointed. So basically, they don't care any election. They just want people with barami to rule them. So that's why when they see election and they see people that don't have barami enough for them, they don't think that they're fit for them. So this narrative is making weak for democracy and nobody talking much on democracy. And this going on and going on for some of the years. I'm going to move forward to see the result of that fabrication of the narrative of anti-democracy, which is I'm going to move forward to 2006. So before 2006, we had a government led by Thaksin Shinawatra. You might heard about Thaksin Shinawatra. And that party is called Thai Rak Thai Party. And that was the first time in the Thai history we have a government running full term 4 years. And that time, again, that narrative started. Well, the government is corrupt. Everything is corrupt. So they bring out this corruption and make this as a protest. So they form themselves as what we call the yellow shirt to do the protest, right? In Bangkok, and later of the year, that yellow shirt came up to protest again, and later they start to wear multiple colors of shirt. That's why we call them salim. Salim is like a Thai dessert with multiple colors, so that's why we call them salim sometimes. So salim in Thai is like those people that's very ignorant. So anyway, that protest is leading to a coup. So because they don't believe that the election would be the solution that fit with the narrative that we've been told since 1976, and that's why they're very welcome for the coup d'etat in 2006 to get out of Thaksin Shinawatra, to get out of the government that they didn't like. And the result of that narrative that I will show you in this picture. Can you believe that you have the coup d'etat where people gave flowers to the military? So they were happy and then gave flowers to the military. They so welcome those soldiers to take down their power, their people power. So this is, I would say, this is a result of the narrative, anti-democracy narrative that has been told for many years, and that is the result. And that, for me, that time giving flowers to the coup d'etat, for me, it's like a peak of ignorance in the X generation for me. So anyway, after the coup d'etat, and then 8 months later, the Thai Rak Thai Party got banned, got dissolved by the Constitutional Court. And and later on, they're forming a group of people called Red Shirt. One of the things, Red Shirt, you might think that they're formed because they only love Thaksin, but I would say you have to understand Thaksin or Thai Rak Thai Party was in the power full term for 4 years, and that 4 years there are a lot of changes. Thaksin is not perfect. He has many flaws, but one of the things that we cannot deny that he made a lot of benefit to people that elected them. One of the things Thaksin did is called free health care. This is one of the main pillars from the free welfare state, free health care, and that's why people started to benefit from democracy. They're starting to love democracy. They're starting to love elections. So that's why they're very angry that they just did the coup and then dissolved the party, and they formed the group of people called Red Shirt people, or we call Sia Dang. But Red Shirt is quite not that welcome as the Red Shirt or Salim, because the Salim people actually dehumanize and demonize those Red Shirts as the Kwai Dang or Red Buffalo. So they just dehumanize them to just a Red Buffalo. So there's another event but for me, the Red Shirt, it started to ignite of the enlightenment. I saw the light of enlightenment from the Red Shirt. But that enlightenment of the Red Shirt people stormed to Bangkok because of another incident, which we call silent coup or judicial coup. Because in 2008, there's another party that won election from the people, but then the constitutional court again dissolve that party. That party is called Palang Prachachon Party. And then the opposition party, led by opposite, just did some trick and then formed the party, formed the government suddenly after that. And that ignited anger from the red shirt people storming to Bangkok and protest with one demand that the opposite party, the government need to step down and bring back election, because you just dissolve the party and then you just did some trick to form the government. That's only one demand, to step down and make election. But what the red shirt people got from that demand. So it had been protest for many months, and what they got at the end, in 2010, the government at that time, led by opposite, started to crack down the protest. And this is what you see. In 2010 in Thailand, the red shirt people got cracked down of the protest, and then some of them got shot, and nearly 100 of them died. And you might not believe that the prime minister at that time, opposite, was on the TV and said, unfortunately, some people died. Okay, but anyway, the red shirt was killed. You remember the Salim people, the red yellow shirt people? They didn't remember that people killed in the middle of Bangkok. The only thing that ignorant people remember, their big mall got burned. Their big mall, later on, the court already said that it wasn't burned by the red shirt, it was something else. But that's the only thing that they remember. Not the people died. They remember that the big mall got burned. And more than that, the next day after the red shirt died, the Bangkok people started to do what we call big cleaning day. It basically just to clean up all the evidence. For me, this is like the peak of ignorance in the X and the Y generation for me. If you remember the chair and the smiling face of the massacre in 1976, for me, that smiling face turned to be a big cleaning day on that day after the red shirt people died. So, and let me move on to the other years. And anyway, after that event, there are also another election in 2011. But still, the people always won. And the party that won is a Pheu Thai party led by the sister of the Thaksin. Her name is Yingluck. So, and again, the people come back to win. So even though they got killed, even though they got whatever, they come back to win again in this election in 2011. But the ignorant people or Salim people still came back again, because in 2013 to 2014, so about half a year from 2013 to 2014, the ignorant people did another protest in the name called PDRC. In Thai we call Gopopasa. And this time, they protest not only just to want the prime minister to step down, which he already did step down, and call for another election. But this is even further on. These PDRC people gone beyond that. What they did is not just to protest for step down election, but they want to reform, and they actually block the election. So it just go beyond just demand for another election. This is just block all the election, just no more election. So, and that leading to another coup d'etat in 2014, led by the present Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha right now. So, and that for me, the protest of PDRC that even blocked the election, for me is the peak, another peak of the ignorance of my generation, the Y generation. But Prayut Chan-o-cha had been in power for many years, almost 8 years now. And what happened? What he did? He did a seed. He put a seed on to destroy democracy in Thailand. One of them is to drop his own constitution. One of the constitution is he can handpick 2050 senators, and that senator can vote him to be a prime minister. And then the referendum for the constitutional law wasn't free and fair. People that against the constitution was arrested. That's like the seed that the Prayut Chan-o-cha made it into destroy democracy. But anyway, people been with Prayut Chan-o-cha for many years. They have seen the collapse in the economy. They have seen the mismanagement in the COVID. They have seen the mismanagement in the vaccine. And then what happened? Their anger and everything just started, and then the anger ignited when another party is called Future Forward Party got dissolved again by the Constitutional Court. And then another Thai activist living exile in Cambodia, Wan Chalerm, got forced disappearance, and that ignited a big demonstration started in July in 2020, and that demonstration and that activity is still going on. But what you have seen is that, and there are also the consequences that those activists have been arrested and been in jail without trial, without the right to bail, and some of them also went on a hunger strike, and some of them still in jail and have been on hunger strike for more than 50 years. Yes, 50 days, 50, and that too goes by Paul and Boom. And a few years ago, the people from the Move Forward Party, the MP, showed their faces on the parliament just to ask to free them because they have been hunger strike for 50 days now. So I'm gonna end my talk now, but my point is, so what you have seen here, we have been long way until now, but what we have been from the past until now, it made us much more of enlightened. I have seen the light of enlightenment, the evidence of enlightenment. I'm gonna sum up it very quickly, 3 things. Firstly, the young have been speaking, the Z generation, the Z generation have been speaking a lot until the roof of the coconut shell have been gone. And right now, everyone can speak in everything. Everyone can see through the deep state. Secondly, and we have the big achievement that people right now, the consensus of the Thai people now is that no more coup anymore. From giving the flower to no more coup anymore. And everyone won election. You can see an example of a month ago with the Bangkok governor election. Everyone was so excited. So we have the candidate from the governor Bangkok election with me. He can tell us how excited people and very hunger for the election. Thirdly, the number of people, the ignorant people, oscillate people is getting lower and lower every day. Soon they will be extincted. That's what I think. On another hand, the deep state is more brutal and they tend to rule by fear, more and more fear. And that's it for my talk. Thank you.
Like mismanagement during COVID, regarding to whatever he did or the current government did, this never go wrong. And there's questions a lot of people, especially young people, because they think for themselves why this happened, and what cost us the life of the next generations. And there's so many people that are still in jail today in Thailand because of this questioning to the current regime. So that's what it is happening and what cost Thai people life and freedom. So thank you very much, Shinny, to point out all this. But before that, we talk a lot about politics. So why don't we bring Thai politicians come and talk with us? Today, we are lucky. We have one who volunteered himself to join us, but he cannot join here in Germany. He joined us online from Thailand. He is the famous, let's say that way, that he just went to local election for the Bangkok governor. He doesn't win it, of course, but he still be politician in the Move Forward Party candidate, who is a party that has been resolved before and now is rebirth again. And then previously he was the party list member of the Thai House of Representatives, but now because of he joining the elections for the Bangkok governor, so that's why he have to resign and then join the election. But he's still the politician. He always thinks and then provoke an idea and represent a lot of things for people in the country. And what he bring us today is some words that he would like us to tag on this RAM. What is that word?
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Can all of you hear me? ครับ สวัสดีครับ Thank you for inviting me to join the big event like a documenta, right? Can you listen to whatever I trying to say to you? I cannot hear you. It's silence. It's silence. I cannot hear anything. The word, okay, let me check the chat before. Okay, I think that you are waiting for me to explain the phrase or sentence that I would like to tag into the place, right? The sentence I choose is Bangkok is not for บางคน บางคน it means somebody in Thailand บางคน นะครับ when you say บางคน in Thailand it means somebody, just somebody like a elite, right? Or any or only rich people, okay? And we have two sentences. The first one is Bangkok is not for บางคน that means Bangkok is not for somebody. Okay, and the another one is we want to see กรุงคน not กรุงเทพ กรุงคน what does it mean? กรุงคน is the city of human, city for all human, and กรุงเทพ is the name of Bangkok, right? But กรุงเทพ just กรุงเทพ is mean the city for angel or city of angel, right? So when we combine two sentences together, Bangkok is not for บางคน we want to say กรุงเทพ not we want to say กรุงคน not กรุงเทพ นะ so totally it means I think it's the good time to build up Bangkok and other towns in Thailand to take care of all people that have breathed, that have life in the town, in the city, right? So that means the governor or the social planner or regulator have to think about all people instead of just some people, right? And we want to see Krung Kon, not Krung Thep, means I think we should help one another to reduce the problem of inequality, because in after COVID, I think everybody knew that the economy is quite poor, right? And especially the poor people, I think it's very tough to find income to do the career. I think it's very tough now, right? So I think it's the time that the government and the governor, I mean all governor in any towns in Thailand have to take care of the people. I think it means all people. Okay, that's all. Correct.
Yes, thank you very much, PG. Yeah, that's the artist, and he tried to interpret and then tagging the words from Kun Birod from Thailand. Okay, so from now on, what is going to happen is that you are free and more than welcome to join and sit with us. We are going to have the public discussions. So in case some of you have heard what we have talked before in 3 topics, first thing is about patriarchy, about men in the politics. The second one is politics in Ramayana, which is the story in South Asian, is story about God, about monkey, about ocean, earth, heaven, all those kind of things. How that reflect or influence people thought of politics and the way of living in Thailand. And last one is the topics about transformation from ignorance to enlightenment, how Thai people start to questioning what happened, why it's so wrong, what happened to our country. We have such a high capacity, why we are still developing countries. So this kind of thing that is happening in Thailand, and we come here using the art here in the ramp, tagging some words that you might heard of it and you might not heard of it, that try to explain the feeling of people right now, bring up all the topic that many people try to put it under the carpet, try not to speak about it. But today we have freedom of expression as we hear in documenta. And it is one of the things that luxury in Europe, that you have such a luxury freedom of speech. So we want to use this opportunity to bring all those things that happening in Thailand and have so many restrictions, talk about it here and now. So welcome everyone to this RAM, and then you can have a talk with us, with the speaker here, and also speaker online as well, that we're going to join us. Hello, hi everyone. Here you have seen some of us, like two cameras here, this one and this one. So I'm showing the two places. Maybe you can turn the other way so see more people. But just so you know, if you don't want to be in the frame or anything, just let us know. For people who are in this area, it's supposed to be giving automatic consent to what is going to show here. But before that, let's start the public discussion with Nong Ploy. She's a member of Ban Nok, and she's now in Norway. She is calling direct from Norway, talking about us, what happening and what she thought as a new generation in politics and also the way of living. So welcome, Nong Ploy.
สวัสดีค่ะ Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm a bit nervous, but I just want to like tell the political issues from my perspective, like from like my life. I'm in a generation. I'm in the millennial generation, which is like I'm born in the last year of the millennial generation. So I might not be able to speak on behalf of the Generation Z, but I will try to tell you a bit about my experience about this political thing in life. So when I was young, I study at a school that's really like into yellow shirt, and my teacher is a small school, and she had like a picture of the yellow shirt leaders and signatures, and they forced us to listen to the TV of this yellow shirt. Is called ASTV in a Thai language class. So you can see like the pressure of political situation there. Like people who don't think the same like as them will be forced to do so. And yeah, it has been like that in every school that I was studying in. But then as P. Shinny told us about the Enlightenment ตาสว่าง I've seen many changes in the society. I've seen many of my friends started to change. Before I was trying to talk to them about the topic of the article, this article 112. But it's like a taboo. They didn't want to talk about it, and they didn't want to address anything about the elites, the authorities, the monarch. But now everything started to change, and I see it very it's kind of going in the positive way. But still there are some issues that we are not like some topics that there are many levels of thinking. For example, there is this protest that I'm really interested in. It's from the group Taluk Gas. A lot of people that like a lot of my friends who are the middle classes, some of them they live there, and then they said the sound of the protest is like really loud, and then she couldn't sleep. But for me, I like from this situation, I can see like the two classes of people, and like the Talukas group, most of them, 40% of them, they are like under 18. They are really young, and they are from the working class families, and they were there to protest and to express their anger. And I feel like it's necessary for us to understand, to not push anyone in the movement away, like the more radical one, the more creative ones, like they are trying to be peaceful. But I think it's important that we have to include everyone, even if they don't think the same as us, even if their thoughts are more radical. But I think it's necessary to include everyone in the movement, and everyone, like the people from Talukas, they are from different backgrounds, so we will not be able to understand completely what they are dealing with in their life. So yeah, I think this is the thing that I really want to tell my friends, to try to understand and not push anyone out of the movement. And I think Thai people are not, I mean, there was a 14-year-old boy who died in the protest in front of the police station, and I thought it was going to be like people are going to get really angry and everyone will be on the street, and but it didn't happen. So I think we need to be more aggressive. Like we have to express our anger more and include everyone in the movement. And then, yeah, I think this is the way that we can overcome the authority. Well, yeah, something like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Nong Poi. Can you hear us? I'm not sure because there are some technical issues between online and in the hall, so they cannot hear each other nicely, but I hope it's so by now.
I'm hearing you really well.
Okay, yeah, perfect. All right, so this is the perspective from the new generation talking about politics. And just so you know, you're here with us. In Thailand, it's not that freedom of expression that we can come and talk. Why we're having this discussion? There's someone from the government walk into the hall taking picture of us. And just so you know that being here talking about this topic, there's some issue for us as artists, as Thai people, that may risk our life to go back to Thailand. I don't know about whether this is ring your bell of something Stasi or anything like that back there in your old time, but this is actually happening in Thailand. And we are very unfortunate in this situation. We live in the time where we cannot do anything. We cannot choose but we can choose what we want to do, and that's what we want to choose. We want to express our freedom of speech. Okay, and here we have questions in the hall to ask, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just would like to ask, because I've heard so many times today about Article 112. What exactly is it, and what effect does it have for us as Thai people? I think many people also want to know here, because we keep relating to this article, but I don't think many people here, they really know what it is. So maybe anybody from the call, can you please, Kun Virod, probably explain about this, what effects it has, for our freedom of speech regarding Article 112 in Thailand?
Excuse me, for Article 112, I prefer to speak this issue in Thai because sometimes I think it's quite difficult to talk Article 112 in English. Okay, can somebody can translate what I said about Article 112? Is there somebody to take care of?
Yes, we can do it. Maybe Shinny would like to help us to translate
Okay.
in English.
Okay, but for other issue, I think is I can explain in English. But for Article 112, I think I would like to talk in Thai.
Is it that you want to avoid?
คืออย่างนี้ครับคือตัว Article 112 เนี่ยนะครับคือณปัจจุบันเนี่ยมันถูกตีความแบบกว้างมากๆจนทำให้การพูดถึงสถาบันพระมหากษัตริย์เนี่ยมีข้อจำกัดมากๆแล้วนะครับนะซึ่งตรงเนี้ยผมกลับมองว่าเป็นเรื่องที่ไม่เป็นผลดีเลยกับระบอบการปกครองแบบประชาธิปไตยอันมีพระมหากษัตริย์ทรงเป็นประมุขเนี่ยหรือว่า constitutional monarchy เนี่ยนะครับนะพอจะ
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I think it's more comfortable to discuss the issue in English. Okay, for Article 112, right now I think government use this article to put a lot of body in jail. Okay, 112 Article 112 is the law to protect the king, right? The king in Thailand is the figure in the constitution that need to have the protection. But right now, if Article 112 was used without the limitation and without care, I think anybody can sue others with Article 112. Right now, that means Article 112 was used to pressure people not talking about the monarchy, right? And right now, Thai people, I think they feel fear to talk or discuss about the monarchy. That is not good for the our regime that's called constitutional monarchy, right? I think monarchy, get back to the law. 112, okay. You can 112 is the law to protect the king, but it allows you to discuss or talk some about the king. คือจะพูดยังไงดีล่ะครับคือเราสามารถที่จะวิพากษ์วิจารณ์ได้แต่ต้องไม่ใช้ความรู้สึกที่อาฆาตมาตร้ายแต่เราสามารถที่จะพูดถึงความเห็นของเราต่อสถาบันพระมหากษัตริย์หรือตัวพระมหากษัตริย์โดยสุจริตได้นะครับอันนี้ตรงนี้รบกวนทุกท่านช่วยแปลทีละกันเพราะผมไม่รู้ว่าจะใช้คำพูดภาษาอังกฤษอย่างไรเนาะแต่ณวันนี้เนี่ยพอเราใช้มาตรา112เนี่ยอย่างกว้างขวางเนี่ยครับอย่างโดยที่แบบไม่มีข้อจำกัดเลยอย่างนี้ครับมันกลายเป็นกฎหมายที่ใช้ในการกดดันคนอื่นนะครับแล้วก็เป็นกฎหมายที่ทำให้คนอื่นเนี่ยห้ามพูดห้ามแสดงออกนะครับแล้วก็ตัวสถาบันพระมหากษัตริย์เองเนี่ยก็ถูกใช้นะครับเป็นเครื่องมือเนี่ยในการที่จะทำให้เกิดความกลัวในสังคมซึ่งจริงๆแล้วผมคิดว่ามันไม่เป็นผลดีกับตัวระบอบประชาธิปไตยอันมีพระมหากษัตริย์อยู่ใต้รัฐธรรมนูญเลยนะครับขอเท่านี้แล้วกันครับ
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Kun Virod. Kun Virod, he's a Thai politician, and we asked him about his thought in the Article 112, which is Le Majesty Law. Le Majesty Law in Thailand is that to protect the king and the royal family, not to be insulted by anyone. However, the way used in Thailand is unlike other constitutional monarchy in Europe. People can be sued easily without the same what's it called with quite severe impact. In other countries, if you insult someone, then you have some amount of the charge or jail time and fine in certain level as a maximum. There's no minimum in the law, but in Thai there was some minimum that you're supposed to do, and the way it is that once it comes to this law, it's difficult for the officer to say no, this one is not, because if he say that, then it also result an effect in his work. So everyone who, when it comes to this topic, anybody can, if they don't like someone, they can just come up and say, okay, this one have talking about the king, and then they can sue that this is the Article 112, and that's not the point of using the Article 112 originally. So it's not really protecting the king as such the way we do it right now. That's what I try to explain what Kun Virod tried to express his thought in here. I hope that's okay with you, Kun Virod. And now, yes?
Right now, Article 112 was used as a tool to sue the people who think different. So for example, there is somebody talk about the king or discuss about the monarchy, right? Okay, and they don't want to insult the king. They just talk about the king. They just express their feeling, right? But if somebody interpret on their own that, hey, this guy is insulting or talking down the king, right? Just interpretation from somebody, that guy can go to the police station and sue the people they don't like. Just they think differently, right? That is, I think, this is the problem of Article 112 right now, and the charge of Article 112 is so high. If it, I think jailing people or putting people in jail, I think is in criminal law in right now for the reason to talk about some people, I think is not suitable for this time, right? But the Article 112, the charge of 112 is so high. I think 10 years, more than 10 years, I think it's not suitable for the time right now. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you, Kun Virod. Here,
Okay.
Pichi, he also have some input about that question as well. I'm not sure whether you can see. Yes.
Yes โอเคเป็นไทยนิดนึงเนาะก็เราว่าI think about 112 is kind of flute. It's the flute of the ideas of human are not equal. ความหมายของคนไม่เท่ากันเนี่ยมันความหมายของคนไม่เท่ากันมันย้อนกลับมาที่เรื่องรามายะนี่แหละเพราะว่าในสังคมบ้านเราเนี่ยคือต้องเข้าใจก่อนว่ารามายณะเนี่ยมันถูกผลิตซ้ำแล้วก็ทำขึ้นใหม่เนี่ยโดยกษัตริย์ตั้งแต่ช่วงรัชกาลที่2เป็นต้นมาเพราะฉะนั้นไอ้รามายณะเนี่ยมันเป็นวรรณกรรมของคนชั้นสูงคือคนลากหญ้าเนี่ยไม่มีใครอ่านรามายณะนอกจากอ่านผ่านระบบการศึกษาเพราะฉะนั้นมองเรื่องของการมองผ่านเรื่องของอำนาจและชนชั้นเนี่ยรามายณะเนี่ยมันจะแสดงถึงให้เห็นถึงความเป็นผู้ที่สูงกว่าเหนือกว่าในระดับขั้นเราจึงเห็นว่าไอ้ความหมายของคนไม่เท่ากันเนี่ยมันแฝงอยู่ในแนวคิดของรามายณะตลอดและโดยเฉพาะจะเห็นเลยว่าในอินเดียเองเนี่ยซึ่งเป็นที่กำเนิดของเรื่องของรามายณะเนี่ยโดยเฉพาะนักการเมืองฝ่ายขวาจัดของอินเดียอย่างเช่นพรรค BJP อย่างเงี้ยใช้วาทกรรมเรื่องนี้บ่อยมากว่าฝ่ายตนน่ะเป็นพระรามซึ่งไอ้คำนี้ปรากฏอยู่ในรัฐสภาไทยในวันที่17กุมภาเมื่อต้นปีที่ผ่านมาซึ่งนายกรัฐมนตรีประยุทธ์จันทร์โอชาเนี่ยใช้วาทกรรม ชุดเดียวกันกับที่เกิดขึ้นในอินเดียแล้วมองว่าฝ่ายตนน่ะเป็นพระรามแล้วก็บอกว่าฝ่ายตรงข้ามก็คือฝ่ายค้านเนี่ยเป็นทศกัณฐ์แล้วท้ายที่สุดของบทวาทกรรมเนี่ยเขาพูดว่าท้ายที่สุดก็รู้อยู่แล้วในเรื่องของรามายณะเนี่ยว่าทศกัณฐ์มันต้องตายนั่นหมายความว่ามันสร้างไอ้ความเหนือกว่าความพิเศษกว่าแล้วมันมองกลับมาถึงคนเสื้อแดงเนี่ยคือคนเสื้อแดงเป็นคนลากหญ้าซึ่งคนเสื้อแดงส่วนมากเป็นคนอีสานใช่ไหมซึ่งคำว่าอีสานเนี่ยก็ไม่ได้มีความหมายในเชิงชาติพันธุ์เกี่ยวข้องกับบุคคลแต่อีสานถูกกำหนดขึ้นในสมัยจอมพลป.ที่ระบุให้ไม่อนุญาตให้เรียกคนพื้นที่บริเวณนั้นว่าคนลาวแต่ให้เรียกว่าเป็นคนอีสานซึ่งอีสานแปลว่าตะวันออกเฉียงเหนือแล้วมันเป็นตะวันออกเฉียงเหนือของกรุงเทพพอดีเพราะฉะนั้นมันเป็นความหมายที่มันไม่ได้เกี่ยวโยงกับความเป็นชาติพันธุ์แต่ว่ามันเกี่ยวโยงกับกับอำนาจและการปกครองจากรัฐสยามมากกว่าเพราะฉะนั้นไอ้ความที่รามายณะมันดำรงอยู่ในสังคมไทยเนี่ยมันถูกใช้เป็นวัฒกรรมเพื่อให้คนเห็นว่าเราเนี่ยต้องอยู่แบบชนชั้นมันก็เลยเกิดความคนชั้นกลางส่วนใหญ่ก็พยายามจะดัดจริตเรียกว่าอะไรดีอะเข้าถึงวรรณกรรมรามายณะแบบงูปลานะแต่ว่าก็นั่นอ่ะมันก็เป็นผลผลิตอันหนึ่งที่แม้คนชั้นกลางก็พยายามที่จะอ่านรามายณะที่ทำให้ตัวเองดูอินเทลเล็กหรือว่าดูว่ามีคลาสมีรสนิยมที่สูงกว่านิทานพื้นบ้านหรือว่าเรื่องเล่าแบบ oral history อันนี้มันก็จะเป็นประเด็นหนึ่งที่ทำให้112เนี่ยมันเป็นผลผลิตของสิ่งเหล่านี้ถ้าประเทศไหนไปดูเลยว่าถ้ามีอิทธิพลของรามายณะเข้าไปเนี่ยมันจะไปส่งเสริมพระราชอำนาจของระบบกษัตริย์แล้วก็การปกครองทุกที่เป็นเหมือนกันหมด
Okay, PG, the artist, he point out the things that the question asks about Article 112, which is Le Majesty Law, as a result or part of understanding politics in Thailand through Ramayana, which is kind of the storytelling that is very influenced in the South Asia. And what happened is that in that story, they have the good people that govern the bad people. And no matter what, those bad people, whatever they try, whatever they do, they will fail miserably, even though they come together. And that's actually reflect to what it is happening to Thailand or had happened to Thailand. Like those people in red or those people in northeastern part of Thailand. They try to come up and fight for democracy, but nonetheless, they are being shut down. They're being shut up with sometimes suppressed by killing some of them. And we have one of the prime minister said that when that happened, he said, unfortunately, some people had died. So that's kind of a way of expressing, oh, sorry, that happened. But these people are actually human. These people are result of the understanding of they are part of the people in the lower class or in the class that is not suitable for governing. So that's kind of interpretation of this law as a result of 112 article. I hope there's a better understanding from what he tried to explain. I'm not sure whether you get kind of connection with this one, but that's what he said. Yes. Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So any other questions? We have like 5 minutes left from this talk, this discussion. We started from 2 p.m. and now it's almost 4 p.m. And we have talked about why we are here today, what is Banok, the collective group that make all this art, this ramp and this background here, and what their thought about it. And the topic of politics that is linked with the Tele Group, which is non-profit organization that's registered in Kassel, Germany. We have some idea together and then bring it up to this project, Banok Cross Tele. So we bring it up all the things, the topics that people don't want to talk in Thailand, are afraid of talking about it in Thailand. But because we are here in Documenta, where we can express our speech, our thought freely as a part of the art that we are doing today. So that's one last question.
Chini first.
Yes, Chinny, she is one of the keynote speaker.
Yes, I want to make
Oh,
another
yes.
point.
Can you high up the volume? Yes.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Better now? No, I just want, this is what the other maybe is also connected to the Ramayana and also connected to Article 112. So what I'm just talk is about the organizer here. The name of organizer is called Banok. I don't know if you know Banok mean. So Banok is not that the positive word in Thai. So it could be like countryside, could be outsider. So it's some like a city outside the capital city that we call Banok. But when you talking about Banok or the countryside or the city out, not the capital city, like in Denmark, for example, we have Copenhagen and we have Aarhus, Aalborg, whatever, that's not capital city. But my point is, whatever Copenhagen has, Aalborg and the other also had highway, streetway, train, and whatever public services. Basically, my point is the being Banok in the developed country, in the country where they see everyone equal, you got the same right, nearly the same services, but Banok in Thailand, you treat it like red buffalo, the Kwai Dam, the red shirt, that word got treated like that. So when you talk about Banok, you compare to Banok in Thai, you normally compare to the reference, which is Bangkok. But the Bangkok people, you know that you also Banok, because when you zoom in Bangkok, you are also, some of you also Banok. For example, people living in slum in Bangkok, that also Banok. Even though within the main capital, within the Sukhumvit people, some of you also Banok, because some of you not the middle class, some of you not the high middle class, you also Banok. If you compare to elite, the middle class is Banok. Elite itself, you also Banok. If you compare to someone higher up than you. So my point is, if you're in the country where everyone not treated equally, where the law you not rule by law, but you rule by fear, which is example like Article 112, and you have some hierarchy like that, you are always a Banok of any other references. You will never get free. You will never be equal as long as you don't have the true democracy and the human right. So that's just my point about Banok.
Thank you, Shinny. And we have some input from here, our artists as well.
Hi. Yeah, so I think that's why the project that we address here, we use the intertextuality. So we open the space for audiences to improvise. So that means audience can interpret the story. And so it really kind of reflects how you, what the interpretation you want to base on. But what is important is that how the central government want to base on to what theory and thoughts. And so that's why that would reflect and also influence the classes and also the social structure in the country. As you might have heard, I mean, some Thai people could have heard the Prime Minister used to mention about classifying himself as the Param or referring as a god. If you think about the Ramayana epics and then compare the others who offend him as the Tosakan or the Tamil or Davidan, This is really the thing that behind the how we interpret and the history that we want to focus on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
May I-
There's any last word on that one?
Okay, may I use a short opportunity here because we have politicians from Thailand, we have the artists, we have the visitor from around Europe here, and we have also the artists from other countries. Well, what do you think about Thai politics situation now? I want to hear short. Maybe you can say a few words about Thai politics. Maybe from the history, from the historian.
Well, as I said, it's full of challenges and at the same time hope. And this is a very evident that there is hope. And to do emancipatory politics, one needs hope. That's very important. And this is one of the evidence that this thing is happening.
Thank you very much. Okay, I got a request. Which one? Who? Would like to say something. So maybe a few words. We have not.
Yeah, okay. I just jumped in. I was very delighted to see Thai people speaking about Thailand in a very inspiring way. Close up. Okay. Okay, I just jumped in. I heard that it started at 2:00. I'm lucky that I saw you all. It was very inspiring, educational, very enlightening, and I really wish you all the best. Many thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, from maybe the artist from the other country. Hi. Okay, what is your name? Sorry.
D. I'm D. China.
From China. You are artist from China.
Yes.
Can you say anything about Thai politics?
Yes, I read about Thai politics on news also last year and the year before, and also with Elaine. We live in Hong Kong now, especially I think last year or 2 years ago, right? The Hong Kong and then Thailand, the young protesters have some exchange, and especially online, many communications on the some strategies and etc. Yes, and today I'm very happy, like I'm here to hear about all the discussions. And then Elaine, maybe you want to say something?
Wait, the time is up. I think you're.
Maybe the last word from you.
What?
Last word.
Yeah, I think there's so much actually that we have to share from our experience in Hong Kong the last years. Yes, also from yes, and like also when you talk about the guards, the people that come to visit, we have exactly the same situation. So this is why I think I'm very happy that you can do this event today, and I do think there's a lot more that we can share. So I hope we can continue to exchange more strategies and to learn from each other. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And this is the input from the audience who are from Hong Kong. And I think we are the alliance, which is called MUTI. The MUTI Alliance, I don't know what you have heard about, but it is a group of people who are starting with some kind of funny story, but actually it's having high impact and it's challenging the high power from the big country. Let's say that way. But okay, thank you very much for today. I'm not sure whether you have heard about what is happening in Thailand, or if you have more questions or anything like that, because we are run out of time right now, so we have to cut it short so we can use this space for another workshop. But please feel free to reach us, our audience here, which is a speaker here, the artist here. He's here during the event, so he can come and answer you if you have any other questions. Yeah, so that's basically even though the event is in, but the discussion is gonna be continue afterwards. So thank you very much, and that's the end of the Banok and the Thale collaboration event today. But before that, before I end, I have to thank everyone backstage here, speaker here, audience here, camera here and here. Everyone that contribute and helping us setting this up, like people from Documenta helping us, letting us in, even though we are like a lot of people and then doing like messy stuff, and then you still let us in. Thank you very much. And the audience, even the sound is not so good. You cannot hear some of it. There's some technical issue. Some of you still listening to what we're saying. Some of you may come and then enjoy this ramp. And please feel free to tag if you want to tag any other words that you would like to bring it up, present about your countries. Please feel free to do so. Yeah, and also thank you very much for Banok who have the event for us today. Thank you. And before we end, after we have this last moment of the video, we would like to take a picture for all of us, those backstage, those who are keynote, those who are listening to us would like to be part of this ritual of democracy together. Please come on the stage and then we take picture together. Yeah, just come and join us taking picture. You can.
ใครถ่ายให้เราอ่ะ
เอาไว้กล้องไหมคะมีกล้องไหมคะอ่ะค่ะ Yeah, please have a เอามาก่อนเลยเข้ามาก่อนเลยค่ะมาหมดย่างโอเค Any camera มีใครมีกล้องไหมคะ
คุณวิโรจน์ and คุณชินี่ could you please smile for a while thank you very much we take the photo together from Germany
Thailand
Sweden Denmark and Thailand คุณวิโรจน์ here นะ thank you very much everyone and this is our guest backstage and our visitor
Yes.
Thank you very much everyone okay we'll take one photo okay so thank you very much everyone and
Thank you very much คุณวิโรจน์ ชินนี่ คุณพลอย and other people who are listening to us and watching us here live from thalay.eu and have a good day everyone bye
ครับบ๊ายบาย
ขอบคุณมากนะครับคงได้เจอกันแบบหน้า